by David Marin-Guzman Posters relate to what people have an emotional attachment to, says Jack Chemello, director of Touchstone Asset Management. Most traders collect artworks, you collect movie posters. What's wrong with you? It's an emerging category in the art world and not something even considered worth collecting or saving 30 years ago. As a kid, I didn't really have a lot of money and it was really affordable back in the 70s and 80s. When did you first start getting serious about collecting? My grandparents owned a cinema and country in SW, in the Riverina, so I fell into it as a teenager. It was a hot, dry country town, so the posters stored in their poster room were quite well preserved. They had a pretty good stockpile, so that was a really great start. I thought the posters were quite beautiful, quite unique, and that they related to what people often have an emotional attachment to. One of my first income-producing activities was selling posters. I did a deal with a cinema in Tamworth, where I grew up. I would put up their new posters for free every Saturday in return for keeping the old ones I took down. That gave me a steady supply of posters in the 80s. I started selling them when I was in high school, mostly for $20 or $30 each. How do you track down vintage posters? These days it's a lot easier because there are dealers that have popped up online. Prior to the early 2000s it was a lot harder. Occasionally there'd be a swap meet, often not just for film posters but broader collectibles. Or you went to garage sales because occasionally people have these things and be like, I've got this old poster from the 40s. A poster for Casablanca was sold at an auction for around $450,000 and it had been acquired at a garage sale for $5. What are your most prized posters? Being a sci-fi fan, some of my really prized ones are from the early Star Wars movies. I'm also a bit of a James Bond fan and I've been able to build that collection and acquire some of those in swap meets and from dealers over the years. I'm up to about 9 or 10 of the Bond films. One of my ambitions is to build up the whole series. Your rarest poster? My Tom and Jerry cartoon ones from the 40s are very sought after because there's such a limited number of posters from that period, let alone ones that have been kept. The focus was on winning the war. Is there a holy grail of movie posters, one you're searching for but haven't found? Everyone who is a collector would love to have a 1920s or 30s Boris Karloff poster. Those are some of the most sought-after horror posters in the world. You've got a big Clint Eastwood collection. Which Eastwood movie character would be best suited to the trading floor? Probably Frankie Dunn from $1 Million Baby. Frankie is gruff and sometimes difficult to get along with. However, he is persistent, hardworking and always has his clients' best interests at heart. What movie slogan best describes the funds management profession? There's no crying in baseball, from A League of Their Own. Would you recommend posters as an investment vehicle? I can't give general retail advice, but I did go back and look at the appreciation on posters of the 70s and 80s, like Mad Max and Jaws. Those posters have appreciated in value by about 20% per annum compound rate in return over the past 20 or so years. If you look at that compared to what you've generated on equities in the same period, the total return on the Aussie market's been in the vicinity of 9% per annum. From the mid-90s, movie posters have actually outperformed as an asset class. But my interest is personal rather than from an investment perspective. Are you planning on retiring based on your poster collection? Not anytime soon. The May issue of AFR magazine is out on Friday, April 27th inside the Australian Financial Review. Follow AFR Mag on Twitter and Instagram.